Hello and welcome to episode 129 of the best podcast in the land. Just because I'm here, and it's only because I'm here it's the best. If not for me, they will all be struggling. But enough of my humble self. Let me introduce the rest of the hosts of this podcast. Kex, how are you doing?
He's fine.
Uh, it's fine, apparently. Uh,
Sorry, as I was saying,
okay.
yeah, I said sorry today. I said I'm fine, but it's you that will be struggling.
Yeah, sure. It took you so long for you to answer a simple question. We know we're struggling here, please. Uh, Red, how are you doing now?
I'm good. I can't wait to drop my classics. Let's see who I'm going to upset and who I'm going to make happy.
Yeah. Although it's coming in very late, sir. We'll pardon you a
Never,
bit for that.
never too late for me.
And Dapo, our host, how are you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad to be back for another session of this, and I hope nobody's holding any grudges from the last episode. I'm directing that at Kegs because he seemed pretty upset at the end of that episode.
Get lost.
Right, at this time, I think the way we're going to do it, because it's only Red, we just want to hear Red's views of what he would have voted if he was around. So I think Red's going to give us his 5, and what we're going to do, the 3 of us are going to vote. Would we have said yes or no to his 5? Just to give a feel whether any of his 5 would have made the list and possibly pushed one out of the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we all happy with that? And I guess it's the same format. 2 of us have to agree for us to suggest that it might have made a list on that day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand it over to Red. Give us
Oh.
what you consider your 5 classics. And please, actually, we're going to let you talk about each one so that people get a view of why you think it's classic before we then shut you down.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that
So we
makes
are going to be polite to Red today.
Yes,
that
we are
makes
going to.
that makes that makes sense.
Unlike the
That makes sense.
savagery of last week. Okay.
Oh, we can do it. I mean, either way. So in terms of classics, I know Kirk said we shouldn't ask what is a classic, but I'm thinking classic in terms of somebody's going to look back on this movie and say, yes, it was different and it was a turning point. My first one's going to be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. It's on the list already. That one is on
Okay,
the
So,
list.
I've actually not listened to the
okay, good,
podcast,
good.
so I don't
Yeah.
know. You have not listened to the podcast, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
so,
Yeah.
to be frank, I think that got a yes from every single person on the
Okay.
podcast as well. So
Okay.
I guess what you're doing now enhances the
That
fact that it's right to be on that list.
okay. It was my number one.
Okay.
Number two, Winter Soldier.
Can you
Right.
give your reasoning why
Yeah.
before we
Re-
talk?
Yes.
It just has so many moments for me. So that's where we first met Black Panther, right? That's where we
Yeah,
first saw.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where we first saw Black Panther.
No, not with the sugar. That's
It was
Civil War.
Civil War. We
It
saw
was
Civil
Civil
War.
War. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's not Civil War. So yeah. Oh, so Winter Soldier. Why am I picking Winter Soldier? I'm trying to
The funniest thing, it was on my
yeah.
list. This is
Yeah.
one that was on my list, and I was shot down so
No,
hard.
it's a complete movie. I'm trying
Perfect,
to verbalize it to see why
I think it's a movie you can watch on its own,
on its own.
even
Yes,
in the
end to
MCU
end.
without having to
Yeah,
have watched too many before.
yeah,
I think it's a spy / superhero movie.
yeah,
I love it. It's good action,
yeah.
good relationships, and the whole concept of a what's it called, a traitor organization within another organization.
Yeah.
It's one that I thought played out well, and we're introduced to. I think that's what we probably wanted to say.
Oh yeah.
Winter Soldier himself.
Winter Soldier himself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the vote?
Yeah.
They shut it down. Right? Okay. They shut it
For
down.
me, it's a yes because I proposed
Okay.
it, so it's a yes for me.
Okay.
So
I
I will
mean,
leave these two reprobates to answer.
I think I shut it down out of pettiness when you. But He didn't make the vote because I think the other movies that made the list were considered better. So we
Okay.
have 5 spots, and
No,
yeah.
this was shut down instantly.
With extreme prejudice. Okay.
Oh yeah, I
Yes.
was I was I was being petty when I shut that
Okay.
movie down. Very petty.
Okay. My next movie. I so man, this is okay. I'm being very biased here. Spider-Man 2, 2002.
Mm.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
It made the
So
list, unfortunately.
it's a moment where the first movies were not that great, but we're happy to see those guys on screen. But then, from a storytelling perspective, this was the first time you could feel Peter Parker as a hero and as a human
Mm.
who is struggling with day to day. And I think anybody can go back to this movie and look back and like, yeah, that train scene. This is a movie. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Question, Red.
Go
Would
ahead.
Spider-Man 2 is on the list?
Yeah,
Would you replace Spider-Man 2 with Winter Soldier?
probably not. No, they
No.
go together. Yeah, no,
Go and sleep today.
I'm not
Today
gonna
was
replace
trying
them.
his best to get Spider-Man 2 off that list.
No,
Yeah, so Red, that film made a list. And I
yeah,
don't think it was a unanimous vote though. I think
It wasn't.
okay.
it
It
wasn't.
You were
wasn't.
against it. I think you were the one who were against it.
Yeah, because I wanted to get something else on the list. But yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
but it made a list. So you're on the right track there, Red.
okay. This one, I think I caught some gists about not being standalone and stuff, but I don't care what anybody says. Infinity Wars.
Yeah, this was
It
a
was on
big
there.
no.
Yeah.
See, Red,
Yep.
it looks like I now wish you were on that podcast because it
Yeah.
seems I would have got because the way they jumped on me on this film. But at that point, Kex
This
at this
this
point Kex was
movie.
on pure anger mode. Anyway, he was not even because everything he said got shut down.
No, this is when you say Marvel went full intergalactic. It's a moment. Nobody's done it. And it was well done. Multiple parallels, multiple stories going on at the same time. And Thor with Stormbreaker, nobody can beat that moment.
And
Ever.
also let's be very clear.
Yeah.
Also, a film that ended well in a loss for our
Yeah.
heroes.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, very good storytelling.
Yeah,
Ve-
for
ev-
me,
yeah,
out of the whole MCU,
yeah,
it's the one I would pick. I think it's my number one MCU film.
I
Bar
mean,
none.
it's
absolutely.
not a standalone.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It
Yeah,
has a
I agree.
weight of history
I,
behind it. So
Yeah.
agreed, but that doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the movie.
Oh yeah.
no, it
Yeah,
I mean, it
it's a
doesn't take away
classic.
from the enjoyment, but for classic, I look at movies that, in the next 50 years, you can go and watch that movie again and still get the same level of enjoyment as you're
You
getting now.
you will.
You will, but
I
I would need to have watched all the
Yeah.
other movies.
I think that's the debate we
That
had.
was the
Why
argument, yeah.
none of the Avengers made it because we were saying,
yeah.
oh, you can't tell somebody. Though having said that, some people offline, even though I disagreed with them, they were trying to say, oh, X watched it and they enjoyed it. Yeah, they might have enjoyed it. They will not get it to the level of enjoyment if they've seen all the rest.
Yeah.
Is just what I would have said. So,
So
but yeah, it was mentioned. It was
yeah.
shut down with much venom. What's the
So
last one? Is it
last
the last
one.
one? Yep.
Yeah, my last one. We're probably gonna shut this one down. This is gonna be Cavill's first Superman.
I believe you are joking.
Actually, okay. It's a joke. 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 No, you guys. Look at what I wrote. No. It's a joke. This is what I wrote here.
Oh my God.
Iron Man. I want you to laugh.
Okay.
Look, no. It's Iron Man.
Well,
No,
you see,
I know Dakwa hates Carville. That was why.
no,
It's Iron.
I
It's
don't
Iron Man.
hate it, but I would never. There's no one I
No,
would
no.
ever.
It was not even mentioned at all.
Yeah.
It's Iron Man. The first Iron Man movie.
Well, Iron Man is the one that got this guy really annoyed.
I
Case.
agree, and
Yeah.
that's what that really pushed me over the edge because
Oh,
I didn't.
you don't like it.
No, I suggested it, and they shot it. They all. I think maybe Erika is probably the person that agreed, but
No,
to date, I don't understand how
Why
Iron
did
Man is not
why
classic
did you
comic.
why did you disagree? Why did you disagree?
no. First of all, I'm pretty sure he got free nose. Did Erica say yes to it? It got free nose.
Yeah, he got three those.
It got free nose.
Why not? Okay, so
No, no. So
no,
nobody's saying. I think the well, don't let me talk for others. I think it's a good film. But I don't think it's that great to the point where I would not replace it with any other five on
classics
that
don't
list.
classics are not necessarily great movies,
Yeah, but we had
are
five.
they?
So the way is we were
Okay,
looking at it, we had
so
five on the list. Which one would I
So
these
remove?
are the five. These are the five we had on the list. We had um. You mentioned Into the Spider Verse.
hmm
We had The Incredibles. We had
yeah,
Logan.
Yep,
Incredibles. I thought about that. Yeah,
yep.
We had Logan. We had
old
what
man.
was the fourth one again?
Spider-Man 2
Oh
Spider-Man
yeah,
2,
Spider-Man
and
2,
then we had
Watchmen.
and
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
And
So
before
we have
we had
these
Dark
five,
Knight. We actually had Dark Knight before Logan, and we
Okay.
and
removed Dark Knight for Logan to
So
somebody's annoyance.
let me say why Watchmen, as much as I love it, why
Yeah.
it doesn't make the list for me.
Okay.
Watchmen for me is exactly like Sin City. It's copy and paste. It has no soul. Like just it's I'm reading the book and I'm watching it on the screen.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's still a
But
great film.
here's the argument.
That
If
doesn't
you
make
have
it a
not read the
classic for
book,
me.
if you've not read the book, would you have gotten the same level of enjoyment from the movie? Like, what would have been your enjoyment level from the movie if you had not read the book?
Good question. I think I would still have enjoyed it the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been a classic to
But
someone that's not read the book already and known
let
it's
me
a
tell you
copy and
why
paste.
I'll pick Iron Man. Iron Man more from if I'd ever imagined Tony Stark on screen, Robert Downey Jr. just embodied it for me.
Yeah, it's great
No,
casting. Yeah.
I think it was great casting,
yeah.
great timing, and
But if Iron Man was released today, this was your first time watching an Iron Man movie, would you think it's a
you
classic movie?
no, you can't look at anything through the eyes of Tony
That's
now.
May I say something? May
that's
I
the
say something?
definition of a classic movie to me. That
May
if
I
you
say
No,
give me,
no. That, but if I no, if I go back and watch Gone with the Wind now, or go and
it's not
watch
a classic. It's a racist
no,
film.
okay, if I go back and watch if I go back and watch Sounds of Music right now, would you call it a classic?
I would still enjoy Sound of Music
Yeah,
now.
I would. To be honest, yes, I would as well.
You know you
And,
can
Yeah.
if you
and,
can you,
yeah,
you know you
and
can
what
I would like to say something, but you guys have a moment. Go.
no, go on,
go
Kex.
ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
you
go
go,
ahead.
Kex.
So I just want to make sure we're not clashing. I posit to you that Iron Man is, I don't want to use rewatchable, but has aged better than Spider-Man 2. Iron Man 1 has aged better than Spider-Man 2. The CG on Spider-Man 2, if you watch it now, is shaky. There have been other Spider-Men after that that people identify with better than old man Tobey Maguire, who I loved at the time. The Mary Jane then is not the same Mary Jane that people identify as, oh, this is my MJ, or this is the best MJ, or this is the seminal MJ. But RDJ's Iron Man is head and shoulders. The portrayal is probably third in terms of superhero portrayals that we've ever done, apart from Christopher Reeves being Superman. And when you say there has been one Iron Man, who do you think about is Robert Downey Jr. over the cartoons, over any TV, or over anything? Now, sorry, the score
That's
is
crazy.
good. The soundtrack is good. It holds as a movie. It is the movie that you guys are pissing me off again.
That's why we're laughing now. It's
I
showing in your
know,
voice.
I know. I'm getting angry. As I'm talking now, I'm sweating. Like I'm so annoyed.
Okay,
It
Kex.
it's a movie that started. It's the movie that started this huge journey that we went on. It's the movie that they took a punt on and said, "Oh, you know what? Let's invite Samuel L. Jackson to come at the end." It's the first superhero movie that had a stinger. I don't know what else a classic. I don't know. I like Logan. I love Logan, but a class over Iron Man.
Okay,
I just
Kex.
it's just
First of all, I agree with you that Iron Man is also better than Spider-Man 2. That's why both of them should not be on the list in the first place at all. But
What would be your replacement? Don't tell me
it
Kickers.
it was Dark Knight. Dark Knight was my replacement. But here's the thing about both movies. Look, all the other movies you mentioned, Into the Spider-Verse, I still believe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you can still give that movie to a fresh person and the person will enjoy the movie as well. Same with Watchmen, same with was it Incredibles, same with I think Logan too,
I'll
up to an
I'll, gr-
extent.
I'll grant you Incredibles.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
all these movies, they are movies that okay, if you're going to watch it afresh with fresh eyes today, you will still get the same level of enjoyment from those movies. You won't
So,
like look at Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is Iron Man basically done again
yep, it is.
with if you know and
Yeah.
with most people
But
just call that movie
but
average.
that's because Iron Man was so good. That's because Iron Man was so well done, and it is Iron Man light. It's not as good. It's not. I mean, the quips, the acting, the charisma of the main character is miles. I'm sorry. I love Hugh Jackman as Logan, but is way better than Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine in Logan.
Yeah,
I'm
but
I'm really sorry.
this story
So,
was just so the
I
story
agree that
is
the story
basic,
was
yeah.
not the best. I agree,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I agree with you. Well, I mean, Spider-Man 2 had Doc Ock stealing money from the bank. What did he want to use the money for? Is it to pay to buy the nuclear reactor? Why didn't you just go and steal it in the first place, for fuck's sake?
uh, right.
Okay,
So,
wait. Here's what I'll do. If you agree to take out Spider-Man 2 from the list, I will join you and put
Yes.
Iron Man in.
it's true.
I
You're not
agree to
putting
take
it
out
in.
Spider-Man 2 from
No,
the list.
no, anything.
It's still a stalemate. It becomes 2-2.
No, you are the one that suggested
No, but
Iron
wait,
Man
for
though.
Iron Man as
Go ahead.
well.
But I also suggested Spider-Man 2, and I'm not picking
So
Iron Man. I'm not picking Iron Man over Spider-Man 2. No,
End of story.
no, I'm not. No, I'm not picking Iron Man over Spider-Man 2.
And you know what? When it got to a point when I was thinking to myself, which one would already win? I always come down to one thing: is that, okay, if I was told to be locked in a room with one of these two films for a week and I have to watch it again and again, which one would I choose? And that's
hmm.
how I decide which I think is better. I honestly, that's a personal choice. So that's how I look at it. Okay, I like both, but for a week, I'd rather go for this film over that film, and that's always kind of my final decider when if I'm tied between two films.
Fair enough. That's a fair point.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
way you guys just shut down Zack Snyder's Justice League was so unfair. That's a
What's what?
classic movie.
Do you
No,
know
no.
that
That was
film?
my first suggestion.
That
Um,
film, it took me 3 attempts to finish it, and
let's leave that. Let's leave
I
that
have,
for.
I have
Let's
no
leave that for
willpower
comedy skits.
to watch it again. No
let's
willpower to watch that film again.
let's
Right?
leave
Okay.
this for.
Let's so thank you, Red, for your for your own views. So at least we now know what everybody thinks about it. Well, apart from Wiley, we didn't get Wiley's
Yeah.
opinions. Right.
So the list remains unchanged. Nobody's joining. The only other movie that was on not on our list is Winter Soldier and
Yeah.
Iron Man.
And
So
Infinity
no,
War. And
and
Infinity War.
Infinity War. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anybody looking to replace any of the movies on the list with any of these three?
I can grant you Iron Man for Watchmen. Kex.
Okay.
So wait, we put Iron Man on Africa Watchmen.
No, I can
Yes,
grant
that's
because
what he's trying to
I didn't
say.
have Watchmen. Yeah, I can agree for Watchmen on the list.
Wait, okay. No, I already agreed. What I'm happy. I no. When he said it, I was like, Watchmen is a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Watchmen is a classic. I think it has high rewatchable value. I think the soundtrack is kick-ass. I think
Yeah,
the
but I
acting
think
is
what
good.
but Kex, I think what Red's offering is that are you
Yes,
willing to remove
yes,
Watchmen for
yes,
Iron Man?
No, no,
absolutely.
no, 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 no.
Absolutely.
But
Okay.
Oh,
that's what I
no,
asked him. He
no,
said no.
Watchmen is already on the list. Okay, no, that's
Yes.
what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not going to take out Watchmen now.
Oh.
No, I didn't know Watchmen was already on the list. Was
No, it
all
was.
voted
It was.
in. It's
Yeah.
voted
It
in.
was.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it was
So I'm
voted
I
in.
think
Yeah.
it's the first one that we don't agree actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so the list remains the same.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse, Incredibles, Watchmen, Logan, and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
The five classic comic book movies as decided by the Nigerian Geeking podcast, and this will hold till the next time we do this.
Yep.
Every other person can jump beside river.
Exactly. Right. So what's next on our schedule?
Magic Order, is that what you said? Or
Yep. Some comic reviews. I think what we decided today we review there's a certain comic that I've been reading, and it's called The Magic Order. I know they said something else. It's called The Magic Order by Mark Miller. Now, I kind of read over the last 3 days. I've read 3 volumes of this, and I've been enjoying it. So straight out the bat, I'll say I actually enjoyed this comic. And it's a bit strange. I'm not generally a lover of stories that involve magic. It's one of my. I don't hate them, but I always come at comics that talk about magic with a side eye. But this one was it's quite enjoyable, and I think because apart from the magic aspect of the comic itself, it's about a family, and I love the family dynamics that.
dysfunctional family.
Yeah, it's a dysfunctional family. So just to give an overview, in this comic, what they try to establish is that there are magicians that walk among us. But these magicians keep away magic from our eyes. So we normal humans don't know anything's going on. They've got the ability, even when they're going to battle in the middle of the city, that we're not aware it happens. And where things are damaged, they can change our memories so that we think something else happened. So, and there's dynasties of families who are like the heads of these magic orders. And the comics follows a particular family called the Moonstones, I think they're called. And in the so when we first come opens, I think we find there's a family, there's a father who's the leader of this magic order, and he's got 4 children, 2 boys, 3. Well, he had 3 boys and 1 girl. 1 boy we never get to see, and we learn about his story later on. But the 2 boys here, one's like the obedient, where to do dad, where to do son. The one who's going to
dutiful son.
Yeah, the dutiful son. There's one who's walked away from the whole magic thing, because of a tragedy in his family. He lost his daughter due to his own carelessness. The daughter found some of his magic weapons, used it, got killed. And so he walked away with his wife from it. It's basically a tragic incident that it's traumatized him and his wife. And then you get the daughter. Now the daughter is my favorite character. She's your typical rebel daughter, living the life, not too serious, disobedient, everything you want in a good character.
May I say something?
Yes, go on, Kex.
She's exactly the same character that Mark Miller had in Jupiter's Legacy. The daughter in Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The art is almost the exact same character. So it felt a little unoriginal to me. It felt a little Last Child.
Yeah.
Last Child syndrome, where you don't take anything seriously and you're a bit of a goof off and bit of a hard drinking, hard partying. I don't want to have anything to do with the family type character is what she came across as to me. But go on, sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
So the last one, the daughter. Yep.
Yeah. So and the first volume basically is a mystery about So there's one key plot point, Red. The current leader of this magic order, which I said is the father of this family, shouldn't have been the leader of the magic order. It should have gone to the daughter of the previous leader, but who for some reason said, "No, I'm not giving it to you. I'm going to give it to my nephew." Yeah. This really upset that other lady, and there was a split, and they're like hated enemies.
And they're cousins.
Yeah, they're kind of related, but they're enemies. And the volume starts basically somebody's killing the Moonstone Order's magicians. And very early on, they know it's got something to do with the other group, but they don't know how this person's doing it because this person is very powerful and he's killing people that nobody else should be able to kill. And so the first book's almost like a mystery. Who is this magician? Who these guys have hired that's killing people? Should I reveal the answer to that, Kex here? Or is that a bit too much?
I think we should. I mean, as the story unfolds, we find out that this magic assassin is that brother, the third brother, I think that were mentioned,
The one that's
who
had a
apparently
tragic.
is like yes, who he's sort of a prodigy, basically, isn't he? He's like a
Yeah,
magic prodigy. He's the one that the father expected to take over the magic show from him and perhaps lead the family. But due to that family tragedy that he had, decided to step away. But what in reality had happened is he had been promised by the opposing family lead, that's the lady, that she would help him bring back his daughter, or she would bring back his daughter if I think she was trying to get her hands on a book, like
yeah,
some Necronomicon or something like that, some sort of book. But yeah, all in all, I think what it was 6 issues,
that's correct.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's again, it's very well written. It's a typical Mark Millar book. It's the setup is simple enough. You get immersed in the world quite quickly. The art is, I mean, brilliant. I
yeah.
can't remember
Right.
who drew it. The art is brilliant,
The
and
first,
it's
the
simple
first,
enough for you to.
the first volume was drawn by Olivia Coppel.
Yeah.
Olivier Coupel. Okay, I didn't realize the Frenchman. Yeah,
Beast Boy.
so yeah, that's yeah, that's him. He's the one that did some of Jonathan Hickman's Powers of X, House of X. Yeah, so the art is great. The story is pretty good, albeit simple. Now it goes back to my typical issue with Mark Millar books. They're very light. He doesn't have that. He doesn't. He doesn't have that Greg Rucka or Jonathan Hickman ability to fully immerse you into a fleshed out universe. It's it's Harry Potter. It's grown up. It's grown up wizards doing wizard shit, and the Muggles, which is like the regular humans, don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
So even when they're having like this super bombastic wand fights and pulling stuff out the air and manipulating energy and turning gases into water and all this brilliant stuff, it's almost happening behind our perception as human as regular Muggles. Brilliant stuff, but again, he also falls on magic, right? There's no science behind magic. So it's like the force. This guy, the he bought this guy yesterday, whereas you've been studying for 20 years, and the guy will just wake up one day and beat you because he just has an affinity for magic that's better than yours. So it's well written, and I think it's a simple book. I think volume one is certainly a good one. I think people should pick it up. Um, but we're not just going to talk about volume one, right? We're going to talk about like there's volume two, three, and
yeah,
I think four is ongoing.
So
And now my
Kex is
question
a
is that
Miller.
when you say
Kex is a
family,
Miller
right?
hater.
I'm not a Miller hater. I don't know how to say I enjoy something, but I don't get
Shall
food
just
when I
finish
eat.
this. Shall just finish this book. Is everybody? Is
No.
everybody? Not everybody can be Hickman. So Miller takes popular tropes and he
Yes,
simplifies them, which by itself is not a bad thing.
it's not a bad thing. It's
And
not a bad
and
thing.
even the Magic Order is actually one of his better works, which is one of his more
I think
complete
so.
works
Yeah,
that is more sustainable compared to the other gotcha tricky tricks that he's used. So I'm not going to agree with you on this being light. It's not light.
to be
I
honest,
know what
I
he's
can
saying. I
see,
just want to tackle him.
yeah, I can agree with what Keck is saying. I
Yeah,
enjoy it. It's simple. I think the word we're looking for is a word that Dr. Ayamide loves throwing about all the time.
heft.
It has zero heft. It's very straightforward. It's action.
I
I
completely
enjoy
agree.
it.
I
I
completely
enjoy
agree.
the character. I enjoy the
Yeah.
characters. If you're looking for anything deep meaning in it, forget that one. No, it don't exist. You know,
Mm,
go
It
on.
reminds me of what's this thing called? Tom Taylor, basically, for DC. What Tom
Mhm.
Taylor does with DC books, it's a popcorn, light
Yeah,
entertainment kind of story where you don't go in expecting a lot of depth. It doesn't promise you a lot of depth. But I think the difference between Miller and Tom is that Tom doesn't promise you depth, but Miller he handles this concept, boy, and these are every concepts that you can
Yes.
mine for depth, but it doesn't just
Yes.
go deeper. It just
Yes.
stays on the surface. Like look at
That's
Jupiter's
spot on.
Legacy.
Yeah,
It
I
has
think
a lot of you can do a lot of things with it, but it just does
I
chooses
think
not
you're
to do it
spot
here.
on. You're absolutely spot on. When Mark Miller writes, he writes characters that you think, oh, actually, there should be heft there. There should be a lot more
Yes.
depth, but he doesn't.
Yes.
He almost hints at it, but
But
that's it.
then just the
It's just
basic
hints.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, today you absolutely like you absolutely nailed it because
yeah,
he writes them. I'm looking at like just looking at this family now. You've got the patriarch who has been in this business for years and he wants his family to inherit this business and he's sort of a loving slash stern dad figure. You have the son who you have the boy who I think he's gay but he doesn't want his dad to know or something. I think there was
yeah,
the flamboyant one who you can explore the relationship between him and his dad. You have the daughter who is rebelling, the rebel child. You
yeah.
can explore. There should literally. I mean, this is it's 6 issues, but I swear it could easily be 36, where there are some issues that just have characters talking,
Mark Miller
exploring a little bit more
Mark
about
Miller
them dynamics.
he doesn't do 36 issues.
That's
No, even if it's 6 issues, you've seen someone like Hickman pack a lot of how will I
Stop.
put it now?
No. Stop.
No,
no, today. To
it's
be
the
fair,
best.
Don't call Hoffman
Hickman
that.
would use the first 3 issues just to tell you about how this diagram leads you to Dominion, into this
Yeah,
one, build
Exactly.
into Technicon,
He'll
build it.
no,
he'll tell
see,
he'll tell you what the book
Hickman's
is and everything, everybody's power levels and stuff.
Hickman's conversations, Hickman's what's this thing called? Books are long because he likes a lot of world building. But when you go boil down to when he's doing conversations, they are usually short and have a lot of meaning to it, a lot of layers to it. Like what's this book? His own magical book, Black Monday Murders. I
Oh yeah,
still remember vividly the conversation between the detective and
No,
the woman in charge.
but there's text to show you because it gives you background on like what.
No,
So if he's
I'm
talking
not
about like,
talking about the I'm not talking about the background. I'm just talking about that's direct conversation. Like the
but
woman asking the guy.
he's built something before that conversation. He's built a backstory.
It's
yeah, but
no, what I'm
yeah, but
referring to is the conversation itself. Like the
yeah,
guy going, "Do you want to join the magical world?" The way he uses his prose, the way he writes it, it's a simple conversation, but there's like a lot of meaning behind it. Like there's a lot of expression. He uses it's the shortness carries a lot of weight behind it. Like
yeah.
it's
So
concise.
the way I'll say, I'll put it this way: Mark Miller's conversations are like Guy Ritchie's conversations, whereas somebody like Hickman's conversation, weirdly enough, is more like
It's like Tarantino.
Tarantino
Yeah,
with a lot more
yeah,
depth into it. Even when even when they might say the same amount of words,
so
there's
true.
a lot more layers to what
Yeah.
Tarantino is saying than what Guy Ritchie is saying. It's that kind of, and yeah, it's Mark Miller. And sometimes I'm in the mood for a burger,
Yep.
and sometimes I'm in the mood for a steak. So Mark Miller's a good burger. If you're going for burgers,
Yeah,
uh,
true.
but
Nothing against it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's volume one, and basically ends. Volume one ends with in a way, this killer, this rebel son killer, getting his wish of his daughter coming back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I like the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm not going to go into too much depth on that. That's enough for it. Volume two. Same family carries on. Now the father's left the order. The daughter's now in charge of the order, and there's a challenge from another order from I keep on saying Romania. I'm not quite sure that's correct. From somewhere in East Europe, and that order they used to be, I think, a few hundred years ago. Their patriarch was the number one dude, but he lost the plot. He was evil, and he got taken down by the Moonstones. So now their family are no longer they're like the forgotten people of the magic world, and they're very resentful. But
Of the
they've so
Muslims.
the current son, the current number one son, basically had this long term plot how to get back to being his family number one, and basically volume two is about him doing that, and he does some very nasty things to get what he wants. and then obviously he's challenged by the Moonstones, and so that volume is about that basically, the challenge, how it goes, and how it pans out in the end. There's no need to go too deep. I don't think there's anything majorly more in that book than that. There's a particular character we get introduced to. I think it's quite well, not interesting, but we get to meet an ex of Cordelia, who's a bit of a druggie. He's in and out of rehab, and he plays a part. There's a particular character also on the enemy side, the mother of that son. She's an evil so and so in what she does. But that's volume 2. I find volume 3. So volume 2 to me, I think is even more straightforward, if I'm being honest, than volume 1. But I think volume 3 is the one where I'm not going to say it has a lot more heft, but I think it's a bit more convoluted, and I use that word lightly, compared to the first 2 volumes, because the daughter that was resurrected at the end of volume 1 is at the center of this volume, and I love this volume a lot, and what happens, and I'm actually reluctant to say anything because I don't want to spoil if anybody decides to read about what's going on here. But I think volume 3, and this daughter, I like the personality she's given, and she's one of those. I mean, I'm fond of kids that are outspoken, slightly competent beyond what you expect them to be, and this is exactly what this girl is. I know some people don't like that kind of characters, but I kind of enjoy him. She's that character here, but there's a twist to it, and it drives the plot of this. And also something major happens to one of the members of the Moonstone family in this book that I did not expect. I did not expect them to do that. Most writers, they're certain characters that are what you say they're safe. You think they're not going to be touched. There's no way anything's going to happen. And something happens to one of the characters that I was totally shocked. And even when they kind of hinted that this is where it's going, I thought, yeah, whatever. Last minute, you're going to find a reason not to do it. He followed through on it, and I was quite surprised. So I think it's my favorite volume 3 of the whole.
Volume 3.
Yeah, volume 3. And volume 4 is actually in progress right now. There's 4 issues out. I've not started that, and I think that's also going to be 6 issues. So I'm going to wait for the remaining 2 to come out, and then I'm going to read that as a batch. But I would recommend this book to anybody. Especially if you like Millennium Past, if you like Jeopardy's Legacy, it's quite easy. It's not too heavy, and quite enjoyable. And the art is good all the way through. Any questions from anybody on this before we move on?
I think that's a fair recommendation. Like you mentioned, it's a light book,
Yeah.
and I think I'm going to pick it up to read. I like magic books a lot, especially when the magic makes sense and narratively speaking. So
I can give you one to read. Another one I can recommend one.
Which one?
Black's Magic. Let me see. What's it called?
Who's this
It's a really
by?
good magic book. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Okay, that's another one to put on the list to read then.
Huh?
But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so yeah. Go on. You going to say something?
Yeah, I'm going to mention that this has been in the works for a TV show at Netflix for a long time. It's been delayed multiple times. This Magic Order has been delayed multiple times, but hopefully it's supposed to start filming this year. So we'll see if that ever happens.
On Netflix.
On Netflix. I mean, Netflix has the right to Villa World, so they have the right to everything.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to shit on Netflix. I mean, they gave us Sandman and they did it very well, so they can do great. It's just that sometimes I find Netflix go for the service level. I mean, they did Jupiter's Legacy, and what that got cancelled after 1 season.
Yep.
Yeah,
to be fair, Miller's work is surface level, so it kind of fits.
Okay, we'll see what they do with this, because I'm not trying to imagine what would they do each book as a season, or would they want to film all of it all at once? I don't know.
Each book as a season, and then they will extend the storyline to balance a lot of different things. Yeah.
Okay.
Tunde,
Okay.
Black Magic is
Yeah.
Greg Rocker. I forgot. I
Oh,
don't know how I forgot that
Greg
part.
Oh,
Rucker.
I've never
Yeah,
heard of this book.
it's a good book. It's
Okay.
a good book. It's a good series.
Well, that
Okay.
is interesting.
Right.
Okay.
R- Rocker and
Now,
Nicholas Scott.
Nicholas Scott. All wow. How did I miss this kind of book?
yeah, I'm surprised I've never heard of it as well.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I've
okay,
read it.
I'll pick it up so maybe we can talk about it soon.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we could talk about that one if you read it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good book.
Yeah.
Now, guys, moving on to the next, the last portion of today's podcast. I've been watching a superhero, well, a show about superpowered people on Amazon Prime, and it's called The Power. And I think I'm the only person to watch it here. I know
Yes.
Tunde's seen the trailer and was not impressed by the trailer. I right, so very quick synopsis. I don't even know to go too deep. What's the show about? All of a sudden, in the world, young ladies start developing electrical powers. That's the long and short of it, and it's a almost an evolution or genetic evolution that gives them this power, and it starts among young girls. Very quickly, those young girls have the ability to give that power to even older women. Okay. Now, when I started watching this, I just thought, oh, okay, yeah, it's another superpower show. People get power. They're gonna be villains, and that's what I expected that route to go down to. I think by the second issue, I think it took me 2 episodes to realize where they were going with this, and I don't know why I missed it because now that I've given you the synopsis, it seems pretty obvious. This show is literally all about being well. Okay, don't let me use the word woke, but that's what it's about women empowerment. It's about shifting the balance of power from men to women. So in the real world, in terms of power, and I'm talking about physical power, men are physically stronger than women, and and that's, I guess, in a way, that's in how we oppress women, how we make women fearful, and we use this ability to bring them down. Now in this show, this power is almost seen as a leveling of the field for the women, and it becomes a women issue. And what they now show some governments, they show certain governments, certain tyrannical governments saying, "Oh, this is a very bad thing. We're going to ban it," and they ban it. And if you have it, they're actually doing surgeons on women and trying to remove it. But then you get America, where there's a lot of reaction towards it, and they're also trying to say, "Oh, we need to control it. We need to segregate people," and they're trying to put legislation in place. But obviously, there's some people fighting back against that. There's a particular sequence. Oh, this is a Naija podcast, right? So a lot of this show happens in Nigeria, and so there's a particular character there who's a young Nigerian who ends up being like a social media reporter on this whole issue, and it's quite good. They spend a lot of time in Nigeria, and actually, I think the first concrete proof of this power was actually came from Nigeria to the rest of the world.
What streaming service is this on?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Okay.
Yeah, so the character playing the main Nigeria guy is the same guy from the show called Ted Lasso, who plays the footballer.
Oh,
Tohib Jimo.
Yeah,
So
okay.
so
yeah.
Okay.
he's a main Nigerian character. Oh, by the way, because we're Nigerians, I'm going to mention about the Nigerian part. They do quite well.
Okay.
And they show a lot of our culture in it as well. There's certain slips, so you can see sometimes I think they're using other Africans as Nigerians in certain places, and they're trying to speak like Nigerians. But being a Nigerian, you can spot it.
Yeah.
But overall, there's a lot of Yorubas being spoken in it. There's a lot of pidgin, like street level, and so what they'll do, they'll put the subtitles when they're speaking proper broken. They'll give the subtitles for everybody else to read. So I quite enjoy that aspect of it. I think in the last episode I watched, there was a wedding, a Naija wedding going on. So that's quite cool. There was a particular strong scene in Saudi Arabia. So you can imagine women now suddenly have all this power in Saudi Arabia, and they go ham. they go to the streets, and then the men that are trying to really like force with proper military weapons say no, you stay indoors. We don't want to see any of you ever using this power you have, and it's well enough. And I'm not sure. I think it's a good statement. The show kind of shows that some of these women are equally as bad as men. There's a woman who got the power, and all of a sudden, all they want to do is go and fight and beat up and kill men, and they do that. So there's a lot of statement, but it's very. I'm a man, so obviously I'm watching this from the view of a man, and there's a lot of not suggestions. It's blatantly said that men we're abusers, or we keep women down. Now, obviously, as a man, I kind of draw back from that. But as I'm watching, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I'm a man. Obviously, my viewpoint is a male viewpoint. What one thing the show's done for me is this how women really feel? Like, I mean, because obviously I cannot put myself in a woman's shoe because I've never lived as a woman. I don't know what it's like. I mean, I guess unfortunately, I don't know why I said unfortunately. I'm also a big man. I'm tall. I'm
I'm very scary.
That's scary.
I've never really lived in fear. I don't know if what I'm trying to say makes sense.
Yeah.
I've never really lived in fear. So sometimes I have to stop myself thinking, listen, because your life has been this way doesn't necessarily mean it's true for everyone. So, but this show is what it's trying to say is women live in fear of oppression by men, and this power, the reason why men are reacting is because and this is another issue I have, is that the reaction of men in the show to the power is because they're threatened of losing their power over women, and there's a kind of a character that's like a real life character. What's that guy who got arrested in Romania? Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
So there's an Andrew Tate type character in this show who does podcasts and he's really bashing women and saying, no, it's time for men to be men, take back their power, don't be threatened by, and then we're just pushing some other men, some other young guys to start again pushing back against this whole woman in power. It plays around with all of these themes. I don't think I think sometimes it's heavy-handed. Okay, there's one scene. That wedding, that Nigerian wedding I was talking about. The guy there, I think on the wedding day he realizes his wife also has got this power, and also he doesn't want to have the wedding.
Oh,
and his friends are saying
he's not happy. He's not happy with someone that could be equal or more powerful than him. Okay.
Yeah, and this guy, and they make a point that this guy is one of these really like a me type, tall, big, strong. And there's a little confession where the guy said, but this guy's got power, What if she used to harm me? And then the guy said, you did you ever beat her? He went, no, I would never do that. So why are you now assuming that she would do that to you? So it's that kind of conversation. Tunde, you have a question you want to ask?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. The first comment I'll make is that what you describe sounds interesting. It's an interesting concept to play around with where the balance is different. I think why the last man played around a bit with it, but in a society where women are suddenly stronger than men, for some weird reason, that's good. But the first and most important question is this show entertaining?
Yes, I'll say yes. I don't find it a chore to watch. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
I'm engaged when I'm watching it. If you ask me, is it a good show? I'm struggling to say yes or no, if I'm being honest. But I can watch it, and I think I'm struggling to say yes or no because I'm not, maybe because I'm not really buying into the message.
I mean, there are several shows where we don't need to buy into a message for us to enjoy it. I mean, shows like Succession, The Last of Us, you will call it a good show even though you didn't buy into the message at all. Even though you thought the message was bleak.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understood that message.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it for what it was. In this, I'm constantly watching the show and questioning, would that really happen? I'm not okay. Okay, actually, you know what? I think you've got to do. You've made me get to where my issue with this show is. I'm not really buying some of the actions of people in it,
Okay.
So
and
it's not. So your problem is not
done.
the concept; it's execution.
Yeah, but I'm worried that maybe is this a man merely me, trying to think
Push back.
push back, yeah, or that think that all men can't be this bad because a lot of the men in here, well, not all, but a lot of them are painted really strangely, or in a way that I think it is true.
douche. Douche.
But I do know
Yeah.
there are douche people out there,
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
so in a way it's believable. But
I mean,
the pushback that I expect from the public is what I don't see it. Like, okay, for argument's sake, one of the main characters in this show is a female mayor of Chicago. Is it of Chicago? Of a big city in the US.
I'm a Chicago black lady.
Yeah. No, white lady. And the governor is a male. And
yeah.
he's now imposing all this, mandatory testing for all women to see who's got it. And she's just going along with it meekly. And I think, hang on a minute, there'll be riots on the streets if this happens. I mean, that's my view.
I mean,
And yeah, go on.
Dapo, we've had stories like this with the X-Men, where it's male and female, people
Yeah.
getting powers. There's a comic book that came out a few years ago called Black, where it was black people getting powers and
Okay.
only black people getting powers, things like this. Is it, uh, do are you saying the reactions are unrealistic, even if it was in that kind of situation? Or are you just basing it on because it's women? Because some of these things we've enjoyed stories of comic books where it's Strikers Island and they are bringing up massive robots to attack human beings and all of
Okay.
that kind of
No,
yeah,
I think it's already unrealistic. I think that's where I'm coming from.
yeah,
And it's simply because I know there's this discourse in the public domain right now.
yeah.
And we've basically got into this situation where it seems like it's men versus women. I personally think this is a minority. Well, it's a minority view that's been fed to social media and been propagated. That it's almost become, this is the status quo. But no, I've got a mom. People have got sisters. People have got daughters. Would you react that way to if my mom had this power? Would I react that way to her? So this is where my disconnect comes with things like this. And unfortunately for me, this show doesn't really kind of address that. It tries to, but again, I think because this mayor has an adopted daughter who's got the power. They've got a son in that house, and they've got a young girl. The son is falling under the spell of the Andrew Tate of that world, and I just find the whole thing. And then, just to make matters worse, the mayor female, the husband, is the one who does the cooking in the house. So they've kind of almost tried to make this guy look like a simp. And the son says it. No, the son says it. He said, "No, Dad, she's emasculated you. She's got the power. You're cooking now. You're cooking. What does she cook? It's all. I find something a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah, okay. I'll look at it this way also. What you're just describing reminded me a lot of why we don't like. I think we've talked about a bit on this podcast. All these black slavery films, racism inspired movies. But those movies resonate, and this is also true for those kind of situations where we have a movie where it's one black guy against the entire world. But it wasn't like that in the most cases. Like I'm sure a white person will see that movie and go, hang on a minute, I'm a white guy, I'm nice, and I know a lot of white people that are also nice. Why is this movie showing all white people as bad? So I can see from that point of view where I can see how they feel and how we would feel as men in this kind of situation. But for me, it's if the and you mentioned a point, if it's being too unrealistic, if it's being heavy-handed for us, that means there might be some problems with the execution of the storyline.
Yes, and it might just be a me thing. I would really love to get somebody else's view, and especially a female's view.
A female view.
Yeah, I think I would love to get a female's view of the show.
Okay.
You know,
We
yeah,
we can
but I think
invite some people for the podcast and
yeah,
see.
I'll try and see, we'll try and find and see who we know is watching it, and then
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, is this still ongoing or is it done?
no, it's ongoing. I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
there's only
ongoing.
been 5 episodes so
Okay.
far.
Okay.
I'm not sure how. I think it might be if it's Prime, it might not be more than 10.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's why my first question was, is it entertaining? Because the trailer did not look very appealing to me when I saw
Okay.
the
So
trailer.
okay. So the good thing they do is they try to make they're not trying to make it. They try to make it not America focused too much. So
Okay.
you get a lot in Nigeria. You got one episode
Yeah.
that's almost like 60% in Saudi Arabia. Don't get me wrong, it's still I think the majority is still America, like because this lady and her family is based in America. So you got a lot of that. There's also this side plot line of these there's a girl who was in a foster family where the family was kind of abusing her in a way. And she gets his power, she kills them, and she's on the run, and she's part of this convent of nuns. So there's this society of nuns, or where there's all women, and even among them, this power causes issues. Even when and it's only women in this place. Oh, there's another good storyline. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're going to continue this. So we see. I'm not sure what country this was. There's another country where basically they're trafficking women. So they've got this big room where they've got all these women that they've trafficked, and they're using them for the sex trade.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, they change their policy. They're not bringing any young girls in because they know this thing was going around. They don't want to bring any young girls in anymore. But there's a girl who buys them food, and she managed to get the power and pass it on to these people. It's quite, and you know, you can expect what's going to happen after, you know, when they all get it. So yeah, some quite good scenes in it.
I think I'll give it a watch because some of the things they're describing sounds well thought out. Some of the
Yeah,
scenarios. Because
yeah.
usually when we have things like this, it's usually overbodied with prettiness to the point of no sense, no logical sense at all in planning. It's just someone gets a very woke idea and goes overboard with it without any. Yeah.
I mean, I think they put a lot of thought into it. Sometimes I think maybe a bit too much. And I'm saying that like it's a bad thing because I mentioned the Romania that there was this country. I don't know. I think I'm obsessed with Romania today. There's this country with this president who's like he's like a dictator type president, and I'm sure he's in Eastern Europe, one of those Eastern European countries, and he's the one who starts ordering women to be, if you got the power, to get locked up, and he's got scientists experimenting on them, like literally ripping the gland out of them that gives them the power. But his wife is one of those trophy wives that he uses power when he was a prime, like a minister, to marry, and like basically almost like at a pedophile level. If I'm being honest,
Mhm.
I think he started dating this girl when she was like 16 or 15.
Did she have
And,
any powers?
well, she was a talented gymnast
Okay.
who was going to go to Olympics, but was put to a stop by her mom, basically
That's
selling
like,
her to
that's,
this
that's,
guy.
that's like keep thinking Romania.
Yeah, to get married. But now she's old. She's not old. I think she's in her 30s. But she feels that her life has been wasted. And then she sees girls get this power, and she goes and gets it. But we don't know where that's leading to, really. So, but so there's a lot of they're juggling a lot of plates. If I'm being honest.
Okay. The last question, one other question I'll ask is, do
Yeah.
you actually like the main characters in this? Are they actually interesting people to follow?
I
That
do
doesn't fill
not.
me with
I,
confidence.
I okay. Sorry. The person I like the most are the Nigerians. Weirdly enough, the journalist is okay. There's
Okay.
a girl the first girl. There's another journalist, a Nigerian journalist, who actually gets caught up in the whole relationship and gets hurt. She's quite good as well. I think those characters are the most likable. The main character, the mayor lady, I don't really like her. Even the whole family, I don't like any of her family. But it doesn't mean it's not a traditional dynamic. It's like Succession. do you really like any of the characters such as them? But it's interesting.
I
It's
mean, I
like,
find that no, I don't like them, but I find them entertaining. I
yeah.
find them
So
interesting to watch.
I think it's more of that you look at the interactions, oh,
Yeah,
simp husband. I don't think he's a simp, to be honest, but I think that's what they're trying to imply to us. I don't think he's a simp. He's just somebody who's not threatened by a powerful
woman. Okay,
woman. But
okay.
the song calls him a simp. That was a funny scene. If you got a Nigerian father there, that would be backhand straight away. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's enough for me to go and give it a shot to watch because yeah,
I don't plan to.
you
I'll wait for you.
To be honest, I think as a Nigerian, there's a whole
Yeah.
different aspect of it that's just
You should
worthwhile as a
watch.
Nigerian to
Okay.
watch.
that is
So,
worthwhile.
yeah, just because of the Nigerian scenes in it.
So the culture being displayed and everything.
Yeah. No, there's a funny part. There's certain houses where they show the outside. Instantly, I said, "There's no way that place is in Nigeria." It looked more like somewhere from Dominican Republic, like where there's a particular house
Okay.
they went to.
You can tell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I said, okay, no, that one is foul. Yeah.
I try to go for the Nigerian look, but they go for the tropical Caribbean
Oh,
islands.
they also did something that really, I mentioned about a wedding
Yes.
going on.
Yeah,
For some reason, they showed the. When in films, when they show India, there's a certain hue they put on it.
yeah.
When they show Mexico, there's a certain hue they put. They did this weird hue they put that made no sense to me. And I thought, no, Nigeria doesn't have this kind of. It's almost like you're trying to go for the dustiness, but they got
Yeah.
it wrong. Especially in the
red,
last episode that I watched.
red latrite.
Yeah, but then when they came inside to the party, all of a sudden the colors were back to
Normal.
normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you're trying to convince me. I might check it out.
Yeah, but again, it's one I'm really hard pressed to say is it good or not.
We'll come and back you up next week. I'll tear you down.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yep.
So,
Right, and that's it. I'm done. Anything else,
Okay.
guys?
no, so I just
No.
Tunde Black Magic.
Yep.
I think it's a good one. It's by Greg Rocker. So I was checking out Greg Rocker interviews, and I have some bad news. This guy's
What?
plan for Lazarus is 150 issues.
And is that going to take 150 years?
We're not going to see in our lifetime. Period. That's we're never going to see the end of Lazarus. That's just forget it.
Let's be frank. Even with the schedule as it is now,
Yeah.
it's kind of broken the story in my mind.
Yep.
Because I wait too long to read an issue, and then I have struggled to read. Where are we in this whole story now? How long?
You have, I remember you have parallels. You have the Lazarus. I think maybe almost 30 issues. Then you have the X66.
X66, yeah.
66. Then you have is it Reason? Like another one.
This is why I say, ideally,
Yeah, you have Reason.
ideally, you should read. The only comics you should read weekly are DC and Marvel.
Yeah.
For Image, you should read once they've completed
Once
a
they've
story.
completed.
That it's
So-
complete.
At this rate,
A
this
complete
guy-
volume, yeah.
Yeah,
at this
complete
rate,
volume,
this one is not completing at this rate. Just
Cool. Okay.
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 So
Right,
I think that's
so-
the end.
Yeah. We've come to the end of the podcast. I don't think we've got anything. I don't think we know what's planned for next week. Our listeners, we will come up
I'm
with
telling
something.
Tunde to read the
When
magic.
is Guardian of the Galaxy coming out?
Next Friday,
It-
May 5th. For us here,
May
it's on the
5th is
next week, not this.
Okay,
Friday,
not this
Friday
coming Friday.
next. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So okay.
so
We'll come up with something. Okay. Oh, we might do our spotlight episode.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to do a spotlight Reds on where we talk about how we got into comic. What's our journey into this weird, wonderful world of primary colors, people in spandex, right up and down.
I'll tell you how I was duped by one smart guy who told me he was going to give me
Oh
my
dear.
lunch money to buy me a comic, buy me a comic book. I should, yeah. I saw him reading one. He said he would buy me one. But I still won't accept.
There you got done. That sounds more like a
So,
super villain story in your origin. All right, guys. Let's
all
say
right
your
then.
goodbyes.
Sayonara, people. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Red.
So see you next week, man. Hope you liked my classics.
And and unfortunately, we've lost Kex early on. But thanks, guys, for staying for another podcast, and we will see you later.